Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to another live stream of Shadowverse. Today is Friday, October 23rd. We are doing pretty well. Today I spent most of yesterday struggling to continue to set up my new setup. So um, there's now one monitor with Shadowverse on it, a second monitor that has a dedicated um, like Chrome browser where we get our news from, and then below that second monitor is a third monitor in which I can look at the recording software and the YouTube chat, effectively making it redundant to have to bring the YouTube chat to my cell phone, which is great because that does fix some issues, certainly. I still have some slight concerns, though, about the third monitor. Because it's to the left of my screen, it's kind of distracting. I think I'll probably turn the brightness all the way down. Um, it was quite the hassle to try and get the whole setup installed, and I've just been trying to organize and clean my room, as it were. Because, as I started doing things, it became blatantly obvious that I should be doing other things. Alright, Dragoncraft or Heavencraft. I'm going to replace this one, but all logic should say I should get rid of Swordcraft and Dragoncraft because I have not been able to successfully get rid of either one of those. Nor have I really been capable of winning the arena. So let's come over here. Let's come over the cards. Well, we should go over to the shop first of all and open up some packs. But then let's build a deck, a new rotation deck. That way we know. So yeah, I'm in the middle of trying to clean up and organize stuff, and it's kind of nice. It's been several years since I've had a good proper reorganization, deep clean, and I could certainly use it and do more of it. But it's certainly physically exhausting, and I don't know if I was just incredibly dehydrated or sodium deficient, but as I was trying to install the monitors and turn the screws with the screwdriver, my hands were cramping up, both hands cramping up just like crazy. And in the meantime, I'm also still trying to play Shantae, and for accountability section, we'll Shantae Half Genie Hero Ultimate Edition. I think I'm actually very close to the end now, and it is just going to be a matter of a couple more hours and I'll finish the main game. They did offer a odd option there in which you could just potentially take on the bad guy immediately and not do the extras, which would require you to collect collectibles, or you can just run around and get all the collectibles. And of course I'm going to try to 100% it, so I'm going the 100% route. Alright, we didn't really build a Dragoncraft deck is what happened here. I instead just changed some decks. So let's see if we can make a new proper Dragoncraft deck with the new cards and look at things and think things through. So what we'll do is we'll look just at rival and cards and see what the new expansion really has to offer for us. When this is added to your hand from the deck, if X is greater than 0, reveal it and subtract X. X equals the number of times it follows. If evolved this match, is Dragoncraft going to evolve a lot? Probably not. Accelerate, deal 3 damage to random follower. That is, or accelerate, deal 2 defense to your leader and draw 2 cards. It's probably not a terrible card to have. Once each turn with a follows attacker's defense to recover 3 play points. There might be a strategy around that. Let's see. Is there anything else to talk about as far as the accountability section? I don't really think so. Yeah. I'm just playing Shantae, enjoying Shantae. I'm going to be a little bit sad, I think, when we're done with Shantae completely. I also, since my new TV was just installed, and it's a smart TV, we're replacing my old Vizio, which no longer seemed to let Amazon Prime log in, and frankly, just the streaming apps on the Vizio. They are just not supported anymore, and they're just going to lose their usability, which inherently highlights a problem with smart TVs, is that if you're buying a smart TV for the ability to stream, and then a company like Vizio or Samsung does something to make that streaming experience impossible or painful, Samsung putting ads on their TVs, there's definitely a loss of usefulness on your TV at that point, whereas in the past, a dumb TV just had to be able to display the image properly, and there weren't really any new features being added, with perhaps the see, randomly discard one of those cards in your hands to draw 2 cards. I don't know why you would do that unless you were just trying to run out of cards, and if I was trying to run out of cards, I would need something that would put the win card on the bottom of the deck. And I don't think you could do that in rotation. Take one of those, since that's probably not terrible. Take one of those. But yeah, I watched the Amazon TV series The Boys. I think it's an overhyped series, frankly. After watching season 1, I wasn't really impressed, and with it, it just felt like a attempted Watchmen ripoff with way less of an interesting storyline than Watchmen. Second season really didn't do anything different. And I can't really imagine that they're ever going to be able to do anything different. I can say, though, I logged into Hulu, and I haven't logged into Hulu for several years. Like last time I logged into it, I was just like, oh, this selection is just awful. And apparently, at some point, somebody, I think Disney, bought a majority share of Hulu, and at that point, it became a much better selection, because it's actually good content there. I could see a lot of people, particularly people that are more focused on normal stuff, even more than like what the lineup of Netflix has. Netflix has a decent collection of just normal TV, normal people would watch, but Hulu seems to be really in line with that. So what did we in the end get? We got something that accelerated, something that draws some cards, just a selection of cards that seem not to really synergize with anything other than staying alive, which that may just be the trick. This leaves play restore 8 defense. If there was a cheap way to bring that into the deck, that would be great. Imperial Mammoth. What is Imperial Mammoth? It's too expensive a card to play. Here you could crystallize something for 5 and summon a dragon. But what's the point of summoning a dragon? What's the point of doing a lot of this stuff? Is there a strategy around playing Mega Lorca? And an allied Mega Lorca comes into play on the 7th turn. I feel like this is just the equivalent of the Magic the Gathering Merfolk. Fusion, here we go. Magica Natura. Well, you know what? Everybody's playing this, so why don't I play it too? Let's just be like everybody else. Even though it's annoying and frustrating. See. 9 play points. Do we have anything with 9 play points? Let's go back. Is there something with 9 play points we can put here? See, you could play this. And that's like my only option, apparently. So you do that, and then we do that, and I'll put even a second one there. Is there something around the idea of discarding a card? Let's see. Star Phoenix. Maybe. Just don't know. Yeah. Just don't know why you would play cards like this. ++1 and rush to Dragoncraft. Follower in your hand, deal 5 damage to a random enemy. I don't know how you would synergize around that. Just do 6 damage. That's a massive amount, but it's also a card you kind of never want to play because you very rarely have 6 damage. And see, I have like 20 more cards I need to put in here. It almost makes an argument to make like a Machina card deck. Let's see. It's an interesting card. Is there a way we could beef that up? That's not a terrible card. We'll put that in there. Dragon's Nests. I don't really like the Dragon's Nest cards. Take one of those. If this is discarded, draw a card. Actually, I think this is actually a better card than the other one. Here. Deal 6 damage to a follower. versus deal 6 damage to an enemy follower. This costs 1 more. Wow. And it does several other things. It does feel like you could probably discard several cards. Let's see. Could we possibly put a discard deck together? At least there'd be a strategy here, which is more than what I've got right now. I don't think that there's a overflow deck strategy that would work here. Deal 5 to enemy follower. If you have more evolution points, put a flaming hot flare in your hand. Which is that better than this? Discard, draw a card. I don't think it is. I don't think that's a bad card. If anything, I think it's probably a great card. And I don't think we can fall back into just Harnessed Glass with Harnessed Flame. Although maybe having a bunch of these would help your early game. This. We are making a discard deck. That definitely should be part of it. Gain extra play point orbs. And I guess if we have the Eternal... Randomly put a copy of a card discarded by an effect this turn into your hand. I don't see a great reason for that one. Unless we discard cards from our deck. That. Let's see. This one can evolve if things have been discarded. That one gets us to 40. I just really wish there was a end of the line gameplay strategy around this idea. I should probably stop playing Cloud Gigas. It's, I don't think, as good as I thought it was. Seems like we're approaching the end here. Let's see. Okay. So we're 4 over as far as cards we're going to try. So, who do we want to get rid of? That's not a discard card. That's not a discard card. We'll get rid of one of those. That leaves me with just one more thing. Let's get rid of that. There we go. And so, we'll name this discard. Alright. So, when I was setting up my third monitor, at first I thought I'd just put it to the right. So there would just be monitor 1, monitor 2, and then monitor 3. So it'd be 1, 2, 3. But then what I realized is that to trigger the web peak, I have to put the monitor relatively right about here on the last 10 or 30 pixels of the second monitor. And have to stay there for a few seconds because it takes a little while for it to scan and recognize that. If you have a third monitor in a just horizontal position like this, then what I could easily do is just drop the mouse or just scroll over to the third monitor and not trigger the web peak. So my first solution there was to expand it so you would, if the mouse was in the left half of the third monitor or the last 30 pixels of the second monitor, switched over. But then eventually what I realized is the best way to do this is just to leave the original two monitors the same way they are, with the hard barrier of there just not being a third monitor over here, and instead putting the third monitor down this way. You don't want it directly below the first monitor because typically you will drop a mouse and the mouse will go downward, and so then that'll put you in a weird position and potentially have you click on some weird setting or button, which could make a huge mistake in the middle of streaming. So instead I've just gone 1, 2, 3, and so now when I want to get to the recording software, I come over to the left side over here, and then I go downward from that point to that point. And when I want to get out from the recording software, I come back up. That does mean, of course, I could be on this screen and it dropped the mouse, and if that happens, that will happen, but whatever. I'm noticing right now that the filter, I also, because I have a newer, bigger monitor, I no longer have the issue that I once had of being unable to read the screen and having to effectively turn up the resolution. So what I've done instead is switched to the standard 150% DPI that I had on my first monitor. So that lets everything stay at the same resolution now. I think all three monitors now are at 150 DPI, whereas previously I was swapping between like 150 DPI on the first monitor to 175 DPI or higher, even 200 DPI on the second monitor, because it was just so far away. Not a problem anymore. The smaller monitor is now really close to me. I can easily read it. In fact, the brightness is just a problem now, so I think I probably will dim it to the point where it looks like the third monitor is nearly failing, because when I'm looking straight ahead in my peripheral vision on the left, it's just a little too bright. It's a little too, there's motion happening there, and there's weirdness certainly around the way my computer just handles things when monitors turn off and on. I've replaced the surround sound AV amp that I was using simply as an HDMI switch with a new 4K HDMI Switch that has a remote, and oddly it has an on and off feature on top of a input select button. So so now that is probably going to need a little bit of work, but also I wouldn't want to turn off a monitor. Alright, so one of those cards and draw 2 cards. Okay. So it's going to be this one that gets discarded. There we go. Wasn't I supposed to get another Dragonic Council? Not sure. Alright, well, let's start talking about the news. Otherwise, this is going to turn into a very long streaming session. Very long Friday.
To fill my tum-tums.
I don't think anybody really wants that. I've got quite a lot of games that have come out. Is there anything here that would benefit from being discarded? No. Still not sure if I'm gonna be imbibing much on. Imbibing is a too big of a word. I'm not sure if I'm gonna be buying too much during the next Steam sale. Although, I guess at the end of the day, I may not have to worry about it too much. They're talking about how so many packages they suspect are going to be shipped this Christmas season that there is a decent chance a lot of things are going to be delayed, and there's just going to be a lot of troubles.
What's for din-din?
So, yeah, that's an interesting thought. If 2020 was the Christmas season where people got away from capitalism, I don't know how you do that. I don't know specifically how a particularly unhappy year would convince people that they didn't want things. I mean, at a certain level, yes, if we were as bad off as the Depression at this very moment, people would just say, no, we're not buying anybody anything ever. But I'm not sure the rampant consumerism that has been part of American society for at least 3 or 4 generations could ever be broken, let alone could be broken by a single year of strife. I wouldn't be surprised, though, I guess, if we were 4 or 5 years into the same thing, where people just started scaling down and slowing down. Or if we did implement a huge amount of rationing, just legally required rationing, that would be a different thing. Let's see. Use play points equal to this card's cost and play this card as Rowan's War or Valen's Claw. Let's see. So we could activate overflow cards with this, or we could destroy a random enemy follower.
I'll face you head on.
Why did that not work?
There's a lot more where that came from.
Why did that not work at all? Alright, well, guess we're waiting for the other person to play. And I doubt I'm gonna have any network troubles. We fixed that, I think. If I didn't fix it, I don't know what happened. In fact, that's another thing that happened, and thank goodness for having even decent backups. I had set up a script to back up all the settings to my router once a month, and even though I've in the past 20 days done quite a lot of tweaking and changes, just randomly while I was applying a setting, it accidentally had a bad application and erased all of the settings. But fortunately it didn't erase the internal memory where the backup was saved, the JFFS file system. So that still had the backup from October 1st, so I was able to load all of that and then just make the tweaks again that I've made in the past 20 days. In fact, it actually helped me quite a bit, because no longer now do I need to use I found a better way to have the router email me anytime anybody SSH connects to it, instead of using a force command in the SSH authorized keys file. And I'm just going to talk this generically like people know what I'm talking about. I was able to change a dot profile. Anything in Linux that starts dot is a hidden file, but I was able to change a dot profile file under the root folder directory, since you log in as root, and execute the script that way.
Dark Lord, is that you?
So now it works a lot better and a lot nicer. The only thing now I'd really like to see is to find a way to trigger the same email me script when somebody logs into the web GP, the website login, which is how most people would log into the router almost always, instead of connecting to the SSH part where you can get into the internals and change a little bit of stuff. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem like there is a way to do that at the moment, although I've gotten ambitious and requested that somebody tell me how to do it, or somebody make it so I can do it. So yeah. Let's see. This.
Do not seek what is not there.
This. I'll play this next turn.
And that concludes today's sermon.
So yeah, that's nice. I don't know if I did anything else with the router. I turned off the network client because there was no reason for it to go out and seek a network time when internally there was a server that was already going out and seeking multiple network time signals and synchronizing the clock internally. So unless there's some kind of disconnect there and the internal server isn't actually synchronizing the clock, we should be fairly well designed. Random enemy with the highest attack. That. And then in the turn. We may actually have a winner here with these two cards. Scion of Desire with Eternal Whale. Yeah, in the process of me moving my old computer into a different room. I haven't plugged it in, so I need to plug it in since it's supposed to be the new server. Also, generally, I just don't want any electronics not plugged in and turned on. So, like, apparently my PlayStation 3 wasn't turned on, so I want to turn that back on and just make sure. Although I've disconnected it from the router. In fact, I went from using a network switch that was
We'll lift some heavy scriptures.
plugging into 4 or 5 different network ports to literally just one one network cord into the back of my new PC, and that's it. I'm not even plugging in the PlayStation 3 into the network. There's no reason. It probably couldn't stream anything these days. It's exclusively going to be used for a Blu-ray player, if anything. I never really even had that many I never really had even that many I'm gonna just play this. Yeah, I only had like 3 or 4 PlayStation 3 games in total, and I don't even know what a controller for the PlayStation 3 is. But yeah, certainly that might spend some extra electricity just allowing it to be in sleep mode. But you don't want the capacitors to dry out in electronics, because that's how your power supplies die. That's how everything dies. So you want it to be ideally in a sleep mode of some sort.
I shall give birth to a new world.
Okay. If overflow is active, put 1 gigantic console without this overflow effect in your hand, and give it the following effect at the end of your turn. Discard this card. So I could discard cards. This could destroy things.
Thus, the world ends.
Let's go ahead and hit that. I mean, this would destroy the other followers. I don't know why I would want to do that. Yeah.
That concludes today's sermon.
I don't know if I played this well or not. I don't know why that ability triggered before the other characters triggered. Anyways, moving on, we have a game on the Steam called Raise the Dead, which looks like it's fairly visually polished game as a zombie game. It's kind of late to the party, certainly, in the sense that there's only a few days before Halloween. It's $17.99, which is a little too expensive, and I haven't changed the batteries still in my controller. But yeah, I feel like my mouse still needs new batteries. Hopefully it's not this mouse is dead again. If this mouse is dead once again, then I think at that point I have all the number of these mice that I need, because I was going to do a project of having 4 of the exact same mouses, and haven't gotten around to that. And I'd probably get abandoned one of the projects, the door schedule, e-ink calendar scheduler for conference rooms and offices. I've probably given up on that because I just don't know if there's ever going to be a point where that makes sense to build something like that and try and sell it in this new economy. Okay, what can this do? So discard a card and draw 2 cards. I mean, I guess you could do that. And I can, like, play this, I guess.
This'll your eyes.
See, deal 2 damage to enemy followed and 2 damage to the enemy leader. Okay.
You have angered me.
Need to hurry up. Okay. Let's go ahead and hit that.
My king.
Thus, the world ends.
Hmm. So I could kill this and that would give me more eternal whales. So there is some synergy around this idea. Yeah, Raise the Dead though, I'm going to put it on the follow list. It's a little expensive, it's English only, but it does look interesting enough. And need to focus more on covering the news, otherwise this is going to take all day.
Victory is a testament to your strength.
Well, that felt like a game with a lot of promise. Like, I did not feel like I was short on cards. I did not feel like I was playing terribly. I did get beaten, but I was able to stretch the game out a lot. And a lot of times in collectible card games, just being able to stretch the game to a longer point is a sign of making progress in your ability. Here we have a game on Steam called Fallen Angel that this cutscene, this intro looks very anime-esque, which does hint at a potential level of polish. But then if you look at this, this is a pretty generic, pixely conversation interface. But it looks like it's an action RPG, kind of dungeon crawler. Like, I don't know if there's any roguelike elements. Let's see, it's $17.99 English full audio. I don't know what the deal is with games being listed as $17.99 these days. I feel like that was a good card. I feel like maybe these are not as useful as you would think. The PlayStation blog had new media experience and top entertainment streaming apps are coming to the PlayStation 5, which is to say this is apparently what the PlayStation 5 remote is going to look like. Very similar in the number of buttons to a Roku remote, and very similar to a Roku remote in the fact that there is branded. You probably can't ever change these abilities here, where it's like Disney, Spotify, Disney Plus, Spotify, Netflix, and YouTube. And I think Netflix and YouTube, and even maybe Disney Plus makes sense. Spotify maybe less so, because I don't see why you would specifically use a PlayStation 5 for Spotify and just streaming music. But I guess it would potentially free up not wasting your battery on a phone. Let's see.
Yum-yums to fill my tum-tums.
Apparently, you don't need to download entertainment apps through the PlayStation Store. It's all inside the media space, which I guess just means then the media space is the app. Well, this would discard a card. Is there a card worth discarding, or do we want to? Yeah, let's discard this card.
What's for Din Din?
PS4. The PS5 console also features a new control center that makes controlling your music even easier than before. I'm reading. Sorry. You can quickly switch between channels, skip and pause your music. That will definitely be a factor. You'll want to see how fast or slow it is to switch between different apps, because that's going to be a issue, certainly. Dedicated launch buttons for entertainment apps, asterisk, Disney Plus, Netflix, Spotify, and YouTube. And here you can see that they did not put a comma here, so PlayStation Blog didn't bother to proofread their own their own announcement. Let's see.
I won't stop singing until there's world peace. There's a lot more where that came from.
This is probably the best implementation of this.
But I cannot
Double up on the character and take no damage. The internet and an account with PlayStation Network is required. Streaming services may require a paid subscription, not available in all countries. You could always do the old sugar trick to potentially, like a sugar cube across the lettering sometimes will wear off the printing on a device, but it doesn't really matter what it shows you there if the buttons aren't reprogrammable. And last time I checked, there's literally no way to reprogram. Let me just do a quick search here to see if there is a way that anybody ever found to reprogram the Roku quick access buttons. We discard this. This would give us a dragon. We do this. We will draw a card. This will give ward. This will evolve. Alright, so do this. To then do this. Nope, I gotta do it again. This is not working.
As my guitar gently beats my king.
Alright, well that didn't work as well as I'd like it to. I will say my new TV oddly doesn't have a wired connection at all. Like, so it's all wireless. It is AC, but then AC is a little far from where my router is stupidly placed, where my router should be in the middle of my house, and it's on the far end of the house on the wrong side of the house. But yeah, it doesn't come with a voice Roku remote if you if you wanted to do that. Let's see. 4 damage. Discard a card and deal 4 damage. Alright, let's do this. 4 damage gets rid of this.
Here comes the tidal wave.
Reflect upon your choices.
And then
Ready
evolve.
to witness my true strength? Melancholy keeps falling on my As my guitar
That.
gently beats my heart.
And then
is
that.
heavy.
What's for Den?
Salvation lies in reason's judgment. I can't sing another note.
See. See something here called Sidekick for Roku remotes, man. I'm wasting time. I should not be looking up this. Looking up this. But yeah. At some core level, there probably is a way to reprogram it but it would probably require hacking open the remote itself. Unless there are just incredibly large variants on the... Yeah, I guess it could be that there's just thousands of different variants for the different orientation of different things. Although maybe it's not that many variants. Maybe once a quarter or once a year they opt to. I'm gonna do this. Hope this is the right move.
My king.
Didn't do that. Then another turn.
People are the brightest stars in the sky.
See. Yeah, we're supposed to be talking about video game news. Man, I'm distracted today. Obviously not as focused as I was. I've been drinking the 5-hour energy drinks, and that probably is in part what has caused me to spend some more energy cleaning my room. Well, also the fact that it just needed to happen.
Witness the fury of my
There
curse.
we go.
You have angered me.
Okay. So that should turn that down to a 4/4. What's going on here? I'm just... They now are selling a remote that you can just customize, according to an article from September 21st, 2019. So about a year ago, they started selling a customizable remote. Alright. Come on, I need to play, need to focus, not get distracted. Obviously, I need to hurry up and finish too, because if I'm getting distracted an hour in, this is only going to get worse, not better. Alright, rush. Next time we get a spell, let's do this, and then do this. And then didn't play that right. Well, whatever. Do this. Do that.
I shall give birth to a new world.
There we go. Moving on. Next we have a game called The Black Heart on Steam, which seems like a fighting game between monsters. And while that idea might work, there's not quite enough visual polish here for this to be an idea that works. Part of the problem I think you run into in this is you have a lot of like recognizable copyrighted people. Like you're not going to get Jason, Freddy Krueger, characters like that, and that's what you really would want. Or you'd need to create a large cast, not just 6 fighters, but a much larger cast. Now, inherently, there's also some potential racist accusations that could be put here, in that you have a scarecrow-like animal, plant-based, yeah, I meant to say plant-based, like, creature that's kicking a watermelon, but, you know, dark-skinned guy, watermelon, that can be taken the wrong way. Certainly you have a lot of cleavage and a lot of leg showing on this female character. This is $4.49 English, Spanish, Latin America. It's an idea, certainly, because Darkstalkers is a fighting game series that was based off of a bunch of classic traditional movie monster characters also, and that did work.
Here I go! Here I go!
Let's do that. What can we do? Are these immune? Darn it. Alright, well, let's just hope that
Dark Lord,
we can survive long enough.
Let's try throwing in a dragon's claw.
Yeah. But on the other hand, I guess you should also take it for note that there hasn't been another Darkstalkers fighting game since like Darkstalkers 2. I don't think they even made a 3, and that would have been late 80s Marvel vs. Capcom and Street Fighter and likes of those kind of fighting games certainly sold a lot better. See, moving on, we have Famitsu sales for 10/12 through 10/18. Mario Kart Live Home Circuit opens at 73,918 retail sales. I want to see somebody who pays the $100 to get this remote controlled car. I want to see them put a yardstick to the left or the right of just lengthwise down one of these tracks, because what I suspect is happening is when you are moving forward, in fact these black and white boxes might be an indicator of this more than anything. I suspect what's happening is when you're moving forward in the software and looking at the software, it has put a fisheye lens effect on it, and it makes the world look more stretched out than it really is. And thus, by taking that same adjustment and increasing the speed, it looks like the car is moving a lot faster in the software than it is in the real world, because it's definitely not moving as fast as it should if you were playing. Let's see.
Waste of good metal.
By your will.
Here I go! Here I go!
I don't have any idea. I'm gonna save this.
Wind, grant them courage!
Yeah. I have no idea how we're gonna survive this.
All yours.
But yeah. I heavily suspect that's what's going on, is that they're stretching the image and then speeding up the video footage to a 1-to-1 ratio. As for the actual sales, we've got Mario Kart new. Let's skip over to just the new ones. Moon Premium Edition by Onion Games is number 6 for 10,000 units sold in Japan. And then the next new thing is rank 19 for Yomi wo Saku Hana by Experience, which sold 2,731. When you start to see these kind of numbers as far as weekly units sold in Japan, you probably do start to realize just how small Japan is, and how there is a decent argument, if you're just looking at the numbers, to say people shouldn't care about the Japanese market. I wouldn't agree with that, of course. I would say that there's a spiritual side to the video game market, a cultural, historical side to it. If we ignore the Japanese market, we do it at our own risk.
I live to create a draconic paradise.
Okay. What can we do? Can we attack with that? No. So I can attack here.
She's not letting up! Here I go! Here I go!
Choices.
And then I guess I can attack here. I still want to win, even though I'm doing terribly.
Serves me right.
They also have Hardcore Mecha Fighter Edition, selling 2,608. Yoma wa Saku Hana for the PS4, selling less than the Nintendo Switch version. And that's pretty much it. And less than 50. Well, actually, wow, we have something amazing to mention here. The new 3DS LL has sold only 20 units this year, this week, which means they must just not make that anymore. And yet the new TDS, including the old 2DS, sold 836, and Xbox did sell slightly over 50 at 58 units. Of course, the Switch and the Switch Lite combined are selling 100,000 units in a week, so that we're really looking at the bottom of the barrel there. Okay, we could play this. We could discard cards. Play that.
Hey, this wasteland's a fixer-upper.
This will really bring out your eyes.
I mean, I guess if I can get the Eternal Whale to do something.
She's not letting up!
Can I do anything here?
Obstruct me not.
I can hit that, I guess. Then in the turn, it's about all I can do. The game After Party, what they talked about this almost a year ago from the creators of Oxenfree, which I didn't like the game Oxenfree, but I won't immediately hold that against After Party. This game is out. If I recall correctly, this is a game where you have to outdrink the devil to escape hell, or something like that. We can see it's mostly popular right now. It's $15.99, English full audio. And since this is a game that that is much more polished than those other two games that were $17.99, I really have to question that. Yeah, if we look at Oxenfree, most people said it was very positive. I just didn't like it. So that does put me in a weird position where I might very well I might very well not have much I can agree with. Okay, how are we gonna do this? We need things dead.
Here I go!
Right. Let's do this. Does it help to destroy anything? I don't know. Let's just do this.
Here I go! Here I go!
Okay. Yep, and with that I lost. Obviously, although I think I would have lost anyways.
Victory is a testament
I guess the
to
real
my
thing I'd want to
strength.
see as far as After Party is they're calling it a supernatural narrative comedy, where the previous game was a supernatural kind of horror game. I still like my deck, but clearly my deck does need some changes. But I can't change it right now, so we might as well move on with it. Here we have Asterix and Obelix XXL Rome Mastered. This is a rough looking remaster of a, I think, more popular in Europe than the United States game. So like here, this is probably the new graphics, and this is probably the old graphics.
Okay, no more crying.
Yeah, I think there's some relevancy here that an American probably wouldn't recognize. I don't know if Asterix and Obelix are particularly well known in America. But this does also look like one of those third-person action-adventure games from that era that we sadly never see anymore. So I'll put that on the follow list. This. Next, we have a game on Steam called Descent of Man, which looks like it's a horror game with several horror creatures. And they're using like some effort to make a trailer, which generally in a low effort asset flip horror game, you don't see any effort on the actual trailer at all. I'll put this on the follow list. It's free, English only, so I don't know what to take from that, because with it being free, that means it could be pretty short or pretty cheap. And either I'm stretching my neck or I'm leaning the wrong way, because like my throat feels like I strained it, like not maybe over talking. Maybe it's because I'm looking up and down. Maybe that's the problem. That would be a nightmare scenario, certainly.
What do you think?
It did occur to me that perhaps my TV was too high in the past, but if that's the way it's been, then it's not been a problem. And then all of a sudden looking more straightforward is the problem. That would be weird. Moving on, we have a game on Steam here called Change the World, which looks like a poorly drawn visual novel. It's free, English only. Nothing there makes me want to put that on the follow list.
I won't stop singing until there's world peace. Wakey, wakey.
Next, we have a game on Steam here called Dwarfheim. Unfortunately, it's already mixed. It's tagged as a real-time strategy game, and I could see making a dwarf game like that, like Warcraft. Of course, nowadays, if you're going to make any kind of real-time strategy, it has to be pretty great, or people are going to be disappointed. Okay. Discard a card and deal 1 damage. Alright, discard this card. Deal 1 damage. Draw a card.
As my guitar just beats.
Attack. So yeah, Dwarfheim is early access, single player with online PvP, $24.99. Let's see if we can see some negative reviews. Let's see why. Purely a first impression, extremely limited playtime. 3 role systems are extremely interesting. Not seeing anything here. Great concept, and that's about it.
I can't sing another note. Mother,
So generally,
so much
it seems like it's just not polished enough, and that is definitely in line with what I think people would just kind of demand as far as any kind of real-time strategy, is that it's just got to be a top tier game, or it might as well not exist. 4 damage to an enemy follower. Let's see. What do we want to do?
Do not
This,
seek what is not there.
and then that's it.
There's a lot more where that came from.
Awaken, for the you've been chosen.
Shutting down.
I won't let you make us cry.
Emergency mode.
Yeah, I'm not
activate.
saying anything, man.
A fitting
Jeez.
end.
I probably pushed it too late.
Darling,
Trying to stream,
completely.
trying to stream in the middle of the afternoon, which would be the time I was sleeping just a few days ago. Okay, we can play this, or we can gain health. This is probably not a useful card.
More corpses.
Do this. Discard the card. Deal 4 damage to this.
Wash in a sea of
Blow
melancholy.
on, dear wind.
And
Ready
evolve.
to witness my true strength? Melancholy keep my heart weighs heavy.
Shutting down.
There we go. Gamatsu has an article here. My Hero Academia Ultra Impact has been announced for iOS. We may have already heard about this, but yeah, it looks like it's not going to be much of a game. It'll probably just be another cell phone RPG. I don't think I can change anything, but I'm noticing that
Don't come
the
any
fade.
closer.
Emergency mode activated.
Wind, grant them courage.
Sorry about that. Let's get back over here. Let's play this.
I shall give birth to a new world.
Such a lovely couple.
Can we do anything? else? Think we have to play this. Think we have to get rid of this. Think we can then do like that.
Blow on, dear wind.
And then we just lose because of that. So I was trying to change the fade time. I think it was getting, it looked a little abrupt in my peripheral vision to come over here and then have a pretty bright white. So yeah, maybe that'll look a little bit visually better. At a certain point I'm just tinkering. I'm tinkering as I'm losing. But yeah, I was going to lose probably anyways. Moving on, we have a Gamatsu article here. Guilty Gear Strive, free next generation upgrade, PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 crossplay confirmed. No crossplay support for PC and arcade versions, however. So, okay. I also heard that Control Ultimate Edition on the PlayStation 4 has to be launched once for you to be able to move your saves over to the PlayStation 5 version, which that probably normally wouldn't be an issue, but it does open up more possibilities of complaints, certainly, of Control in particular just not really doing their best job to support their own software or support their own customers. I haven't heard of any new news as far as Crow Team being acquired by Devolver Digital. I wouldn't be surprised if that's fairly quiet. Here we have a game on Steam called Aster First Person View, which to me looks like it's a drone flying game. It's $16.99 English only, and it's not VR. These images do not want to load. So, take their sweet time on that, I guess. Yeah, here we are. Need to either figure out how to get these images to load with higher priority, which probably would make a lot of sense on any web browsers, that you probably want the pictures to load faster than even the text would load. Of course, that would never happen. Yeah, this does not look good. But, yeah. It's not happening at the moment.
Let's try throwing in a dragon's claw.
Once per turn, when this foe's attack is increased by an effect, summon a bullet bike. If overflows activates, summon a Hellflame Dragon. I don't know why that's in the deck at all. Let's see.
Let's try throwing in a dragon's claw.
Next, we have a game on Steam here called Bunny's Trail, which looks like it is a single screen Unity puzzle game where you're trying to get the bunny from point A to point B. It's visually polished a little bit better than your average single screen Unity game, but that's about all I can say for it. It's early access, $1.49, 8 achievements. It doesn't look like anything that would have any value for me to play. Discard this. Let's see. I could play this, do this,
Won't stop singing until there's world
hit that.
Waste a good metal.
In the turn. Next we have a game that's marked not safe for work and sexual content, so I'm not gonna show it. It's called My Sweet Washing Machine, and it looks like it is just a jigsaw puzzle with the picture of a washing machine with a anime girl eyes and tongue sticking out. It's the best way to describe that. I assume that's trying to represent a meme there. But I won't even mention the meme. The game itself is $1.19, and obviously it's a low effort garbage game, and I don't think it has any adult content in it, so that also seems deceptive and inappropriate, and something that should not be allowed on Steam to just straight up lie. Okay, let's do this. Let's evolve this.
There's a lot more where that came from.
That's enough heat.
Let's do that.
Unbelievable.
It's in the turn. Next, we have a game on Steam here called Stratham Hill Stories, and this definitely looks like this is supposed to be a Grand Theft Auto clone. They even say immediately that it's a London-based Grand Theft Auto clone, which at a certain point you need to call yourself like a Grand Theft Auto 2 clone and not GTA 5, or imply that it's a GTA 5 clone, because it's not going to have that kind of visual polish or that kind of world building or level design. This is $4.99 English full audio. This also is probably the first GTA clone I've seen ever made that actually is just trying to be like a GTA 3 clone. And like there's been some other games where you're a first person shooter running around stealing cars, committing crimes, but it's so easy to make a game like Mafia, which is effectively also a GTA clone, and just make it your own thing.
You're done for.
Yeah, I just don't know why you would. Your big selling point is that you're making it a jokingly in London, or in which I assume that's the whole joke, is that that crime doesn't take that form in London. I don't even know. Moving on, we have a game on Steam here called Supermarket Shriek. I recall this being fairly popular for about a week amongst the streamers, but apparently now it's come out of early access. It's $17.99. It says single player, English full audio, but over here it seems to be there's a 38 stage campaign, 3 hilariously fun player versus player party mode. It's for 2 to 8 players. So there's actually only 3 party modes. So there's mostly single player. Interesting, but I just don't think that there's a game here. I don't know if you're controlling it with your microphone either. It kind of sounds like that would be the way you would control it, is use your control triggers to make each duo scream or hook up 2 mics and literally shriek your way to victory. And that's how they move, is that there's 2 people in the shopping cart, you and a goat, and one side shrieks and you go left, one side shrieks and you go right. This is clearly one of those games that was created based on a concept of a name more than a concept of a game. Guess I could evolve him, and it could have done some more damage. Yeah, I can't imagine myself really wanting to play a game where you're hearing a goat and a human scream the whole time. That just sounds like a miserable time to me. Next we have a game on Steam here called Horse Goes Skiing, which does not look visually interesting enough. It's $1.69 English only. Kind of looks like it's trying to invoke memories and nostalgia of Ski Free. See. Next we have a game on Steam here called Transformers Battlegrounds, which one of the Transformers games was good. Although I think this was not it. I think, if anything, this was one of the Transformers games that was very poorly received. They want $40 base or $50.98 for the digital deluxe edition. English with a whole bunch of other languages, allegedly full audio. I assume it is. I'm going to put this on the fall list, but I'm putting it on the fall list fully knowing that there's a decent chance that this is going to be a big no. I don't know who this pirate lady Transformer character is. I haven't watched Transformers in a very, very long time. Did they manage to make a third generation that somehow aligns with the Autobots and the Dinobots? Or because last I had heard, there was just a lot of going around in circles and trying to reboot things and redo things.
This is pure craftsmanship.
Ready to witness
Let's do
my
this.
true strength?
Oh, this is pure craftsmanship.
There we go. Didn't have time. Yeah, if I was moving any faster. Next, we have a game on Steam here called Lazarus Trial 101, which that makes it feel like it's a demo. And this feels like this is a platforming game with maybe some Portal-esque puzzles around it. $4.99, English full audio. There's just not enough visual polish here to make me want to play this. And if this is supposed to be a tutorial on how to play their specific game, their game shouldn't be so generic, really. Feels like it's almost a bunny hopping assistive program, which you don't really need, or platforming assistive program, which you really don't need. Because even if the game was a trainer to help you do platforming, the next platformer game you try to control will control slightly different. Well, he managed to win even though he only had one life. Yep, not doing great. Let's see. Next we have a game on Steam here called Valhalla Harbinger Tests, which is tagged mostly negative, which really sucks because this looks visually very polished. Universe, we're calling it a massive multiplayer with RPG and gore. English full audio. Let's see why people don't like it. Probably doesn't connect to the server. All you can do is run around and attack people that half the time don't even die.
Ruler of the skies.
See, bought this game so a long time ago. It sounded super promising and potential. Only purchase this game on Steam right now if you feel like investing in something. The product available at the moment has about 10 minutes of content, and that's being generous. Cash grab. Yeah, more than likely this is just all pre-made Unity assets being thrown onto the store. Yeah, that's what I would guess is going on here. So, unfortunately, with 36 negative reviews on basically day one of its release, that's not going to make it to the fall list. Next, we have a game on Steam here called Oddity Girls Virtual World, which seems like it's just a beat-em-up game with some weird-looking characters. They're calling it a casual action genre.
This will really bring out your eyes.
Says it allows you to work with your friends to eliminate the boss and acquire skills together. So it's kind of like a boss rush beat 'em up game. Yeah. Looks like it's just a co-op beat 'em up game. Early access, free to play, single player only at the moment, English and Korean. Let's see. I don't know how they can say you work with your friends when it doesn't have any way that you can actually play with your friends. Right.
Awash in a sea of many colors that run.
What do you think?
Yeah. Also, I would say, well, it's believable that this guy might be a girl. It's probably just a curly-haired guy. It's not really believable that this is supposed to be a girl. Maybe this is a girl. This is a monster in the background. So calling your game Oddity Girls doesn't really make a lot of sense. Yeah. This just does not pass the smell test, frankly, for quality. Discard one of the lowest cards. Deal 2 damage.
My heart weighs heavy.
This.
Good luck.
Go ahead and throw that on the
What do
field
you think?
and attack. Let's see.
Let me enchant you.
Next, we have a game called Succubus Affection from Kagura Games. You would think that's an adult content game, but nothing here is tagged as adult content, and it's tagged as a JRPG. Looking at the images, yeah. I don't even see a succubus if there is supposed to be one. But I also don't see an interesting looking game. It's $17.99, English, Chinese, Japanese. Yep, I don't think there's anything I can say there. I think this still kills somebody, even if it doesn't do any damage. So I should do that. Didn't do that. Didn't do that. I should start evolving something. Yeah, even watching the trailer, I guess they're saying the character you're playing as is a succubus, but they're drawing her kind of as just a cute anime girl. She's just got a tail that's never shown in the game, which probably means that the whole game itself was just a cheap game that they bought and then they're trying to sell as being more lewd than it actually is, because there's just like no nudity here at all. Is nudity a real word even? Right, well. Let's do this.
Stop singing until there's world peace.
And then this.
There's a lot more where that came from. Corny. As my guitar gently beats.
Do that.
What do you think?
That.
My guitar
That.
gently beats.
Such a lovely couple.
That.
The next victory will be mine.
There we go. Gematsu has an article here. Kowloon's Rizome, A Day of the Fire, is due out the fall of 2021 in Japan for PS4, Switch, and PC. The crowdfunding campaign has been launched. The PlayStation 5 release is also in the cards. Okay, what is this game though? Looks like it's some kind of weird like shooter or something. It's apparently a sequel project to the 1997 PlayStation title Kowloon's Gate. Let's see. Real-time render to depict cyberpunk Kowloon Walled City. Let's see. Do this. And what do we want to do now? Kill 2. Or we evolve. Or we just rush.
I'll live again.
Ready to witness my true strength?
That
What do you think?
and that. See what the trailer shows me as far as what kind of game this is. The trailer shows me absolutely nothing. I think it's a shooter game. It's about as much as I can figure. But it definitely is one of these weird Japanese games that we haven't seen a lot of those in the past decade or so. Yeah, we've been getting more and more visual novels, more and more things just built around, like, let's make this anime, let's make this at least popular enough that anime fans would like it.
Witness the fury of my curse.
Here we go. Then I think that's the right move. There. And we'll go ahead and evolve this.
Angered me.
Stunning. What do you think?
And do that. Next we have a game on Steam here called My Company 996, which this clearly is some kind of low effort Chinese game. Job simulator. English is not supported, it's $8.99, Chinese only. It's probably a troll game. And I have no idea what 996 means when translated to Chinese, or from probably sounds like something else and is a shorthand for saying something else. Next we have a game here, just Asian characters, that is tagged as a hack and slash, looks like a Diablo clone. Doesn't look terrible, but English won't be supported. It's free to play, but it's an MMO with in-app purchases. It's Chinese only in the language. Alright. Deal damage to an enemy follower. Can't do that. Ward to reduce damage from effects. Discard 2 cards and then draw 2 cards. Okay. What we need to do is this. And then do this. And then what we need to do is this.
You're wide open.
This. And that.
The record shall gain meaning with your death.
Let's see. Gamatsu has an article here. Memories of Historia. Maybe that's supposed to be of. Volume 1 and Volume 2 launched March 25th in 2021 for the PS4 and the Switch. 7 Memories Off games. It is off. OFF.
Give birth to a new world.
In 2 collections. Okay. So these must be older visual novels that are getting bundled. And at a certain point, maybe visual novel bundles really would make sense. Because this is an interesting design, because they've designed this specifically so these cover arts would come side to side like that, but there's no way the cover art would ever look like that. If you have two Switches, you'll have the red logo badge in the way. If you have two PS4s, you'll have the blue border in the way. Unless they have reversible covers, which maybe they will have reversible covers, but I imagine more likely what happens is that the Switch would potentially open up and you could see the image across the side and back, but on a reversible cover. I'm not sure a reversible cover would even fix it for PlayStation 4, but maybe it would. That is certainly an idea, though. Get rid of selling individual visual novels, instead focus on selling bundles. Let's see. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this. And hit that.
Wind, grant them courage.
On the other hand, bundling a game, like bundling a visual novel, is probably the worst kind of bundle you could even think of, because you've got most visual novels that are good going for 200 hours. So if you're giving five 200-hour experiences, you've probably overly satisfied that customer. And at a certain point, visual novels make the best argument for episodic annual releases more than anything else, because you get a lot of experience. Although, I don't know, maybe visual novel fans do just have super long commutes and they can go through 200 hours in a month. At a certain point, it is a lot like the Blu-ray collector's editions of movies, where you just have ton of extras and content that you could never really sell on your own, but you might as well put it out there. So that does seem like an idea. Where Blu-rays just get flooded with.
I won't stop singing until there's
Let's see.
world peace.
I cannot do anything, can I? Discard a card. Draw 2 cards. There you go. There's no way I'm gonna survive this. Next, we have a game on Steam here called Murder House, which is supposed to look like VHS footage of a PlayStation 1 era game where you're investigating a murder house, I guess, and then you get murdered by this guy in a bunny outfit, this probable child rapist, by the look of this young small kid sitting on his lap, and by the image of the bondage gear on the wall. It seems like it's probably going in a dark direction, this game, and $10.79 is a hard price to ask. Like, I think inherently this is trying to be an attempt at making something like Silent Hill 1 English full audio, for the poor fans of the Silent Hill series. I don't know if there is descriptions of child abuse. So yeah, I don't know if there's a game there that's really worth playing, because I don't think there's any relevancy there. There you go. So 5 losses. We're really burning the midnight oil on this one. And yeah, I'm still not doing a great job about making sure I'm logging in and getting the daily quests. So now in some way I need to get 4 victories, one of which needs to be a Swordcraft or Dragoncraft deck. 3 need to be ranked. Let's see. Rotation. This deck. Preview. Alright. Let's make some changes. I don't think I want these. So I'm going to get rid of 2 of those. Let's see, what was the most annoying things? This we tried a couple times and it didn't work. So we can get rid of that. That plays as well as whatever. Well, really shouldn't be playing that one. Not for this deck. Not for that deck. Shouldn't probably be playing that. That. Let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of that one. Okay. So now what do we want to do to fix what we just did? It's probably not a bad card, and I might need it. Take one of those. And see if we can find anything else of use. And it may really just come back to doing that. Just a ward character. Maybe Wall of Destiny is a move. Maybe we put that in there. We'll put that in there and we'll try one of those cards to see if that works. Maybe put one of those. I don't know if gaming empty play points is worth it. Is there any reason to do that? No. It's a lot harder to play from the bottom up when building a deck than from the lower part, top part down. Let's see. Once each turn when an allied follower is destroyed, put a copy of that follower in your hand. That could potentially give you more cards to discard. Give me 2 more of those. Alright. So that's a bit of a tweak. Next, we have a game on Steam called Forklift Load, which seems like it's probably an asset flip game. I don't think that there's enough of a game here, even if the idea really made sense. At a certain point, you're just controlling this humanless forklift, which is dangerously close to doing someone else's job, and it's pretty difficult to control a forklift if you haven't been trained on how to use it, as far as what I've heard, as someone who hasn't been trained on how to use it. And interesting side effect is that some of these forklifts have engines that run off of propane because they're run inside of factories, and if they were releasing CO2, you would kill everybody in the factory very quickly. Apparently this is from the developer of a game called Lost Egg Last Check. That's a weird bundle. This is English and Japanese, 16 achievements. Yeah, this looks like it's an asset flip low effort game, which, yeah, that sucks. Next, we have a game on Steam here called Mystical Mayhem, which seems like a VR stand in one place, shoot it ghost type game. It's early access, requires VR. It's coming soon, so we don't even need to talk about it. Oh, I guess you're punching ghosts and not shooting them. That's slightly different.
What do you think?
See. Next we have a game on Steam called Hard Bullet, which is obviously a VR, well, not so obviously a VR first-person shooter. It's early access. It's $17.99 again, English full audio. I don't know where the $17.99 comes from. Like, see, it would be very disappointing to find out that Steam is kind of in more direct communication with game publishers. Well, actually, they should be in more direct communication with game publishers than the average people. But it would be upsetting to find out that they come up with just straight up dictations as far as this is what you're going to do, this is what you're going to sell your game for. Like, clearly they don't have total control around that, but they seem to be often very, very influential in things they say. Like, they start telling people to make demos, all of a sudden there's a ton of demos. So if they had told people to stop labeling your game as $19.99 and start selling it as $17.99, that would be, might explain this. It might be that it takes them to a different bracket, but I don't think Steam's, like, their percentage cut bracket works that way at all. And it just might be that people think $17.99 is the right price for games at the moment, considering all the potential financial problems lots of people could be in.
I won't stop singing until there's world peace. There's a lot more where that came from.
Let's see.
Warning, there's nothing as my guitar gently beats.
These characters still talk too much. Alright, so let's look at the pictures of Hard Bullet here. It looks kind of wavy on the sides of the graphics, but maybe in VR that's not a problem. Maybe these are little bullet projectiles flying by. Yeah, it is some kind of slow motion John Woo type stuff. Yeah, I'll put it on the fall list. I guess I'm still kind of thinking about VR games, so I can't just flippantly ignore something because. Next, we have a game on Steam called Zen Slider, which is a box sliding single screen Unity game. 89 cents, 100 plus levels, English only, 6 achievements. There's really nothing here though I think anybody would want to play. A slide game like this would be a great like hacking mini game inside of a standard first person shooter, but it really doesn't make any sense at all otherwise. Let's see. What can we do? Let's just see what this does.
Is this all I can do?
Is that a human?
Ready to witness my
Evolve this guy to stay alive.
I'm done sticking my head in the clouds.
There we go. They're making some progress in widescreen for emulation. So here you have a Legend of Zelda Randomizer mod, and here's it at 4:3 where you can see Link is not visible and not all of the image in the background is visible. And here it's at 16:9 where you can see a little bit of Link and more of the building, and here is a ultra wide resolution of 64:27, and that's what they're working on. There's just higher and higher resolutions, which I don't know if 64:27 makes the most sense to me, because I would think you'd want to do 32:18, which would be 16:9 just doubled, and then you would want to double that again, which would get you 64:46 at that point, not 27. So like that would be the next resolution as far as if you're going to keep the ratio the same. Otherwise you're just making something super wide. And yeah, when you look here, it's 4:3, has the character very visible, and the game would probably be easier to control than compare that to like this where he's zoomed out some more, or this where he's very zoomed out. Yeah. And I don't know if there would be any consistent system there you could make. Yeah. Because if you were able to emulate a lot of stuff there, a lot of the Nintendo 64 games, and make them ultra wide, it probably would cause more problems than it's worth. But that is something they're working on for the Mupin 64 Plus emulator core. So I figured I'd mention it. I thought that it was the fact that my wireless controller, mouse and keyboard input were not plugged into the receiver. Actually, I don't think I ever moved that over, did I? Yeah. So I may just be getting poor reception because I have it plugged to the wireless dongle receiver is plugged directly into the computer, where I think if I use the extender cord that it came with, or that I had, maybe it didn't come with it. Maybe that was a previous game or device it came with.
You have angered me.
But yeah, just getting it further away from all the interference potentially could be helpful.
As my guitar gently beats.
Can we do anything? Discard that. Draw a card.
The
Do
resplendent
that,
Phoenix
I guess.
graces you with her presence.
Let's see. Next, we have a game on Steam here called Witch It, which is rated very positively, so it must have been early access. Or, yeah, it says 1.0 out now. And why are none of these images loading? Hmm. Let's reload that page.
That was just a decoy.
As best as I can tell, this is some kind of game where you play as a witch. But that's about all I know. It's $14.99. It's online player versus player, so unfortunately it's just not for me. Oh, and are we finally done with that daily quest? That was like a week earlier. Yeah, oh, Witch It is a game like that Minecraft game where you go play hide and seek and you can transform yourself into objects and the objects can roll around and move. Alright, so now I understand what it is. So now I just need victories. So, easiest thing to do. Let's get away from rotation because rotation's been kicking our butt for a while here. Let's come to unlimited. Let's try force craft and move forward. If I can get some quick disconnects, 2, 3 quick disconnects, I'll have all the daily quests done, which would be great. Yeah, I imagine Witch It could be somewhat popular, although maybe it's too little too late.
I guess you're looking for a fight.
Next we have a game on Steam here called Star Shaman. And I looked up how to pronounce that. Was it shaman or shaman? I think it's shaman. It's a stand in one place and swing your magic staff VR game as far as I can tell. $19.99. I don't see anything interesting. English, French, German? Was it? Yep. No. I just don't see anything there that makes me want to put that on the follow list. Next we have a game on Steam called Noda, which looks like a VR app for mind mapping. That's as best as I could think. The idea of a 3D whiteboard mind map is a concept, certainly, but I tried to use a mind map many years ago, and I just don't think it's something that is taught to most people to the point where it's actually useful at all. And when you start having these kind of like project management ideas and concepts, it may just be easier in total to it does have an interesting speech to text or speech to text ability. Like if this had a little bit more polish on it, you might have something very interesting. It really though feels like something a rich person would have, some rich business person. It's free to play, but then the full version is $19.99. Single player in-app purchases. I don't know why they're labeling it as a game per se. That's a real thing. Yeah.
Let's play.
Let's see. Let's play these. Yeah. If Americans had been using mind maps in their entire elementary school career through college, then I think there might be a level there in which that's useful. But then there is also the possibility that one may just not know oneself enough where a mind map is actually useful. Like sometimes you just don't know what you're thinking, or you just don't know how to put it in the format that any kind of software would require. And ideally, that's really where I would think would be cool, is if there was some kind of real working brain controlling interface that could even just tap a button, remember the synapses that are being stimulated while you're thinking of an idea, and then play back those same signals back to your brain, because feelings and thoughts aren't words and sounds or things that can be fit into any language. They are a complex noise scatter map of brain signals that often can never be replicated by any form. Often I will have an idea and I'll just think to myself, yeah, I don't know how to speak this in the English language. I don't know how to speak this in any language. I don't know how to convey this thought at all, because it's just not tied into anything that anybody has ever done. It feels like you'd have to create your own language, and even if you did create your own language, you still wouldn't actually be able to convey everything, all the meaning that thought has in my head. And I assume that's the same case for a lot of people. I assume I'm not some person that just has some kind of like disconnect between the speech patterns of his brains and the imagination and the imagination side of his brain, but who knows. Moving on, we have a game on Steam here called Shadow Walls, which looks like it's running around a maze and hands and shadows are coming towards you. It doesn't look particularly good. It's $1.39 English only. Yeah. Yeah, I just don't see anything there. Game of Sutra has an article here. This is the first non-Gamatsu article we've done today. Ubisoft Connects has been announced as a refreshed replacement for Uplay and the Ubisoft Club, which is weird because I felt like they had just kind of replaced or refreshed Uplay, and I thought they had mostly gotten rid of the Ubisoft Club. They're still using Ubisoft as their company name though, so like that would be the real change, is if Ubisoft said we're not going to go by Ubisoft anymore after all the controversy around printed in the press around their name. Although at a certain level it may not matter what you change your name to if the controversies are still ongoing.
The power of nature. I failed.
No.
Next, we have a game on Steam here called The Equinox Hunt, which is tagged as a roguelike stealth game. To me, it looks like a top-down twin-stick shooter with a lot of darkness and nothing visually appealing. $12.59 English only. Yeah, I want to find something here to change my opinion on this, but they are definitely not showing me anything. Next, we have a game on Steam called Zelda, which looks like a smartphone zombie game, or just a pixel graphic zombie game. It's mixed already, and still early access. $17.99. Is this just all the same publisher? Did Super.com just publish a bunch of games for $17.99?
Carried off by the wind.
Let's see. Crafting takes too long.
Oh, come on!
Is one negative review. Okay. This could do 6 damage, which I think is about all we can do. So this,
One for pranks.
then do this,
Let's
then
play.
do this,
Let's play.
and then evolve.
It won't be long now. I'm so smart.
And attack.
You feel that too. Only you
Unbelievable.
Zelda. No, the publisher Super.com last released the game Raj on October 15th, and the game before that was on June 30th, Alchemist Adventure,
Future
or
for everyone.
Raji, R-A-J-I. So, if anything, the only thing I can complain Super.com about is that they didn't give their game enough time to come out.
But the truth.
So yeah, I'm still confused as to why we're seeing more games at $17.99, unless there's just a note was given that the next sale is going to highlight games that are $17.99 and under. That might be the case. This.
There you are, my little trespasser.
Only you knew.
What an oath.
How did I miss that? Hey,
And
let's
that.
play.
Let's see. Next, we have a game on Steam here called Population 1, which they're calling a VR Battle Royale. Which, that idea falls apart immediately. Visually polish-wise, this looks pretty nice, but if it's a Battle Royale, you would have to have so many people as your player base that it's unbelievable. Because it requires VR, $29.99, English full audio. I wouldn't play it even if it was successful, though, because also it's a Battle Royale game. So, in 2 different ways, it falls off of the scope of games I would play. Next, we have a game on Steam here called Bikini Alert, which, despite that name, seems to have no sexual content and seems to be a top-down twin-stick shooter, or a top-down twin-stick driver, that is also very, very dark. It's $3.99, English only, 18 achievements. And yeah, it's just one more of these games that is depicted in such a way.
May the forest be at peace.
Should have played this first,
What an oath.
but whatever.
Not
It should
here.
win the game.
Not now. Impressive. Looks like you won.
That's one of those rare cases where you win the game and it's not even your turn, or it's the end of your turn.
I did it! I won!
You can still play Forestcraft as long as there's a battle pass reason or there's a level up on the character reason, but eventually we'll no longer have that excuse. And I will have to build better decks for the other hero classes. Next, we have a game on Steam here called Ezeron Defense, which probably is a tower defense game. Yeah, it's a tower defense game. Early access, $6.95, English only. Nothing there of interest. Next, we have a game on Steam here called Ziggurat 2, which they're saying is an early access roguelike shooter. Looks like there might be something here. $16.19, English and Spanish. Could we see Ziggurat
Time for
1.
me to prove myself. I guess you're looking for a fight.
Let's see. Ziggurat 1 is in my library, so I should check it out. And I guess that does justify putting Ziggurat 2 on the follow list. This doesn't use VR though, and it kind of looks like a game that could have been a VR game. And there always is that danger, certainly, that I'm just doubling down on bad decisions, or that I got Ziggurat 1 for free and thus it was a no-brainer decision that led me to own it. Let's see, next we have Fantasy Heroes 2, which is an RPG game. Looks like an NES RPG. I don't know if this really is an RPG Maker style game. It really doesn't look like an RPG Maker game. The resolution looks a little off. C RPG, JRPG, 49 English only. I don't know if it's fair to call something a JRPG when it doesn't even support Japanese. And I never remember what C stands for in the CRPGs. I think it's character RPGs.
Let's play. Stay away. Ow!
See, next we have a game on Steam here called Hello Puppets, which seems to be some kind of horror game where you either get turned into a puppet or you're being controlled or scared by puppets. Comedy horror adventure that turns your hand into a living talking puppet named Scott. They're tagging this as an adventure exploration walking simulator. It requires VR. It's $17.99 English full audio. Now this is at least something different, because then your controller in the VR becomes a implementation, and the placement of your hand becomes part of the implementation of the game. It also kind of limits you down to only really doing very simplistic actions, because you won't have the complete freedom of movement for both hands. So yeah, that's an interesting thought. Next we have a game on Steam here called Corona Run, which looks like a very polygonal, they're calling it a platformer. I don't even know what it is. It's probably just a low effort troll game. $4.99 English only. Yeah, even that's too expensive. Okay, let's do this.
May the forest be at peace.
And then do this, I guess.
Let's play. Stay away.
And then 1, 2, 3. Next we have a game on Steam called Hexagroove Tactical DJ, which seems to be a Line Rider music game. It requires a controller. It's coming out October 27th, so there's no decision that even needs to be made, but it wouldn't have made it to the follow list anyways. Alright. Need to start playing some of these things, so
You're done for.
do that.
So sparkly. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. No.
There's an interesting thought here as far as an argument about just having a button that would just attack everybody. Like, it probably wouldn't hurt if you could just like double click the hero and then have that automated instead of dragging everything. Or double click a follower, maybe hold on to it for a few seconds.
I will not suffer you.
Or draw a box around. If you could just draw a box around every character and then click, that would be nice too. It's just a effective way
You're done for.
to speed up the process.
Your journey's
Although at a certain point, if you're just speeding up the process, you're just losing the experience. Alright. +1/+1 for each fairy in your hand.
The stars pale beside moonlight.
I failed.
Here we go.
It won't be long now. I'm so sparkly.
That.
Stay away.
Next we have a game on Steam here called What the Golf, which seems to be not really a golf game. They're calling it a memes game for people who hate golf, made by people who know nothing about golf. Okay, it's $13.99, English full audio. Yeah, this was released on consoles. It has 50 achievements. And it is just a joke game, but I think people liked it, so I'll put it on the fall list, get a few more reviews, although it already has 46 and is rated positively. Then yeah, that could be on the wish list. Probably not something that I'd be super hyped about playing anytime soon, but something that's good enough. Okay. We can do this. Or we can do this. I think we need to do this. And then this.
Hey, let's play.
I'll take care of them.
That.
You feel that too. If only you knew.
And then that.
This bears further study.
Next we have a game on Steam called Shapeshooter, which seems like it's an on-rails tank game where you're shooting at shapes that are attacking you. It doesn't seem like anything I'd want to play. And I really don't get the concept as to why you'd be a tank shooting at shapes. $3.99. It's being developed and published by Nuke Games in UK. Yeah, I generally don't complain about not immediately getting the concept of a game, but if it's just incredibly confusing, then there's something about that that's a little off-putting.
Oh, come on.
Okay. Do we want to do this, or do we want to just kill this? And we can just kill that.
Time to head home.
And then I can do this,
May the forest be at peace.
then do that,
Hey, let's play.
then do that,
Let's play.
then end the turn. They put out a teaser screenshot of the guy who's going to be Nathan Drake in the Nathan Drake movie, assuming it actually happens. You can see he's standing in a blown up, destroyed building in the background.
Ow! You're strong.
Maybe he looks a little baby face, a little young for Nathan Drake, but that's not probably going to be a problem if you're going to try and make a long-running series out of it. He's Nathan Drake, I don't think, is inherently known as being particularly muscular. And yeah, I don't see anything here that looks crazy out of line as somebody who's not a super fan of the Nathan Drake Uncharted series and hasn't played any of them. That looks like a decent conversion. In all fairness, I don't know how much of that really matters as far as the character actually looking like the character, because I don't think Angelina Jolie specifically looked anything like Lara Croft and she worked fairly fine too.
情報連結解除開始
Let's go and trade that one out. Trying to make sure these screenshots will load so I know that they're not anything YouTube unfamily friendly. Let's see. Load image. Sorry. I'm looking at my plugin, trying to get it to perhaps. I have a extension on Chrome called the Great Suspender that suspends tabs to save RAM. Theoretically, I don't know if it actually improves anything at all at this point, because at any point it could have been effective and useful, and then Chrome could have put out an update and made it not anywhere as effective as the default code. But I'm telling it not to suspend until after 15 minutes, just in case that would let more of these images load first. But that will only really affect Monday's stream. Alright, so here we have Leisure Suit Larry, Wet Dreams Dry Twice, the sequel to Wet Dreams Don't Dry. And when they re-released all the old Leisure Suit Larry games and said they were making a new one, which I'm still not sure if the new one that they first announced ever actually did come back on sale, or if it just quickly got removed and replaced with Wet Dreams Don't Dry. But yeah, I at no point did I think any of these games were going to actually lead to a potential series of Leisure Suit Larry games and new Leisure Suit Larry games. But it seems like that's exactly what's happening. Now, there is something to be said, I suppose, about the current state of who and what can be streamed on Twitch and YouTube. And as I'm looking at the screenshots and seeing lots of things that have been drawn intentionally phallically or vulvically, I suppose. I don't know what that word is. There is a word, and I heard it once, but it was so obscure. But yeah, I don't know if I could really play these games on anything. However, that's not going to stop me from putting them on the wish list, I guess. Because I can just skip over the follow list. Leisure Suit Larry as a genre does have relevance, as it is one of the oldest long-running series of adult content games. And it's a point-and-click adventure, and at least the older games I know didn't go too extreme. There's still the Magna Cum Laude game that either isn't sold by this publisher or isn't on Steam. So there's still some room for improvement as far as trying to get the full collection on your Steam account. And I would also say it's probably one of those games that is best suited to buying quickly, because it very possibly might get removed.
Son of a gun, ain't ya?
I played wrong there, didn't I? Yeah, I did, didn't I? Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if the Leisure Suit Larry games disappeared from sale again. Next we have a game on Steam here called Pro Player Life, which seems to be a simulation game with actual no gameplay in it. A esports simulator, esports player simulator. $8.99, English and Portuguese Brazil. Nothing there worth mentioning. See, next we have a game on Steam here called Cannibal Crossing, which they're calling an action roguelike, which looks to me like it's kind of a defense top-down twin-stick shooter. There might be a game here. It's a little pixely, certainly, but might actually be something here. $14.99, English, Spain, Spanish. I'll put it on the fall list. We'll see how people react to it. Okay. If I do this,
Why are you here?
then evolve this,
It won't be long now. You won't get away. Stop.
and then hit this.
Mean son of a gun, ain't ya?
Does she have 30 shadows? If she does, I'm gonna lose. I need to very quickly destroy that.
Don't you like me?
Wow, she does have 30 shadows. Who else would I want to play as today? Yeah, I don't even want to think about it. I'll try Portalcraft, I guess, but that's about it. Tech Raptor has an article here. The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners Tourist Edition review. Tourist Edition? What's the Tourist Edition, I wonder? They gave it a 9.0. Aside from some graphical limitations, The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners is an excellent experience and one of the best the Quest has to offer. Pros, great gameplay, lots of content, satisfying mechanics. Cons, mediocre visuals, and pop-in. Okay, cool. This does look like what I'd like to see for VR games. But also, it's fair to say, I don't think The Walking Dead would be a system seller for even a cheap Oculus for me. And I guess with the new resolution, I can possibly zoom this down a little bit more and fit a little bit more on the screen. I don't know if I need to zoom it down that much though. Yeah, I think that's good. Do I want to play that? Like, does it even matter to play a 1-1-1 in Shadowverse? Let's see. Next we have a game on Steam here called Straight Z, which is apparently a zombie game. I thought maybe it was going to be a zombie skateboarding game. Yeah, doesn't look like anything. $2.54, English only. Nothing. Gain rush. Do that. See. Next we have a game called Good Puzzle, which is just a jigsaw puzzle game. course, they're tagging it as a trading card game for $1.19. English, Chinese, and Russian. Highly suspect.
I could never set foot in the sun.
Yeah, a lot of low effort games on this Friday, which maybe means we're getting closer to a sale.
A place to call home.
Do we have an artifact creature? No. Okay. This. And then this.
Do you know my master?
Then we'll go ahead and evolve this.
Give me some. Play
Do that and that. Next, we have a game on Steam here called Alchemist Simulator, which visually looks fairly polished. Is this a VR game, or could you play this without VR? Because if we can play it without VR, there's probably a dozen or so Alchemist Simulator games out there. Now, I don't know if you actually have a good game, just potentially running a shop where you're an alchemist. That poor rat's tail is getting squashed in the wheel every time. 1169 doesn't require VR, doesn't even support VR, English only, no, English and a bunch of languages, it's single player only. Alright, finally, I'll put this on the follow list and hopefully people will find something to like there. You still run into that problem though, of there really just not being a real reason to play. Let's see, well, go ahead and evolve this. That, and that.
You call yourself a fan?
Sleep enveloped in serenity.
See, weirdly, that puts me ahead of things. I've managed to actually get everything done. We need just like one more victory, and then we get another daily mission in 17 minutes, which would then want me to get 3 victories again, because that's all you ever get, as far as I can tell. Is all you ever get offered is just gems. Maybe there's some trick if you played every single day doing the daily quest, you'd perhaps get something different, but the odds must be incredibly low. TechRaptor has an article here, how to get into the Nihon Falcom's Trails series, which is good information. What is the Trails series? The Legend of Heroes Trails is a meta series comprised of several games in the Legends of Heroes series, which itself is a spin-off from the producer of Nihon Falcon's earlier Dragon Slayer series. To answer the common question, no, you don't have to have played any of the previous entries in the Dragon Slayer or the Legend of Heroes for the Trail series to make sense. The Trail series is known as the Kisekai series in Japanese, as that's the commonality in the titles. For example, Trails of the Sky is originally Sora no Kisekai, and Cold Still is Sin no Kisekai. The Trail series is made up of several sub-series, which all have an overarching plot and many recurring characters. Do you need to play them in order? Not necessarily, but there's a surefire recipe for confusion and spoilers about certain characters' fates. All entries in the main series take place on the continent of Zermeria, and plots and characters progress with the timeline in the order of the game's initial Japanese release order. So far, I'm following. Let's see. All entries in the main series take place, let's see. The initial order is Trails of the Sky FC, Trails of the Sky SC, Trails of the Sky, Trails in the Sky 3rd, Trails from Zero, Trails to Azure, and I think ideally I'd probably just want to start at number 6 and skip the first 5 here. Trails of Cold Steel 1, 2, 3, and 4. Or maybe you just skip straight to Trails of Beginnings. Let's see. The first series in the arc, The Trails in the Sky, also known as the Liberal arc, Liberl, is comprised of 3 entries. Trails of Sky FC was originally localized for English for the PSP. FC was released for PC and via Steam and Good Old Games in 2014. SOC followed. Let's see. Let's do that. If you want to start the Trails series spoiler-free, Trails in the Sky is the launching point. While the game itself plays like a fairly standard JRPG, the events of the last few hours completely turn the plot on its head and cascade directly toward the events of SC, and set off a chain reaction that precipitates the rest of the Trails series as a whole. Characters from Trails in the Sky also reappear in both the Crossbell duology and Trails of Cold Steel games. The next 2 games are known as the Crossbell duology. That's Trails from Zero and Trails to Azure. And while they take place directly after the events of the third, neither game has been officially localized as of the publishing of this article. Okay, so that entire Crossbell trilogy doesn't seem to matter by most accounts.
I could never set foot in the sun. That hurts!
Let's see. A fan localization. The Geofront fan localization team has released an English patch for the PC versions of Trails of Zero and is currently working hard on Trails to Azure. I think it is also worth mentioning that the screenshots here for Trails of the Sky is just the logo. The screenshot here for the Crossbell trilogy is a flat animated hand, and then you look at Trails of Cold Steel and you have 3D imagery. There's also some weirdness, certainly, because this feels more like this is a modern game. This almost seems like a fantasy game, and then this seems to get back to a kind of modern game in kind of some ways, with some anime put on top of it. I think the Trails of Cold Steel are also kind of in a fake England world. So, I don't know if that affects anything. Let's do that.
I'm gonna make history.
And then do that. Right. The Erobonian arc, Trails of the Cold Steel, has even more complicated translation history than its predecessors. While the first 2 Cold Steel games are standalone, by the time you get to entries 3 and 4, it's important to have played both Trails in the Sky and the Crossbell duology. Otherwise, it becomes readily apparent that there's a giant honking gap of plot you're missing. Trails of Cold Steel 1 was initially released for the Vita and PS3 in 2015. The localization was then improved and re-released for PC in 2017. Let's see. What does this do?
Begin. Till we meet again.
Yeah, I don't recognize these cards. I don't recognize any of these cards. Let's see. Trails of Cold Steel 1 was later ported to PS4 in 2019 and features many tweaks and improvements not seen in the PC version. So apparently, at the moment, there's no reason to play any of the Trails series at all, because Trails of Cold Steel 1 needs to be updated to match the PS4 version. Trails of Cold Steel 2 was released originally for PS Vita and PlayStation 3, which also kind of goes to tell you that these games aren't going to be the most visually polished. Or just mechanically polished games. There's no way that that's going to be the case. Let's do this.
I know when I've lost.
Let's go ahead and make a copy of that.
Small things in life.
Do that. And go ahead and evolve that.
I just want to be happy. Leave my side. That hurts.
Let's see. Yeah, Cold Steel, Trails of Cold Steel 2 was originally released for PS Vita and PS3 in 2016. It got an improved port in 2018. Then it was ported to PS4 with additional updates and improvement. So again, both 1 and 2 need to be upgraded. Let's see. Trails of Cold Steel 3 was when the official translation company switched over from XC to NIS America. Originally released on the PS4 in 2019, just a few months after the port of 2. Then re-released on PC and Switch in 2020. Cold Steel 4, the next game due to be released in the West, and the conclusion of the Cold Steel series, with the PS4 release in 2020, and then it's scheduled to be ported to the Switch and PC in 2021. So, yeah. I don't know if I want to put any... if I want to... with all that effort... This is the problem with the Final Fantasy series, certainly also, is that you do potentially just run into pain in the butt listings of games that where you really can't figure it out. Oh. Okay, hit that. And then if I leave those two, that's fine. And then
Just follow my tune, and away
that's not what I
we
meant to
go.
do, but whatever. That should still work
Leave my
fairly
side.
well. Oops. I guess one of those would have attacked that guy. I didn't guarantee it though, and
Power of mortality.
wouldn't have mattered one way or the other. But then we get to series of spin-offs and side stories. Let's see. There's Trails of Beginnings, was released in 2020. I think of it as the real conclusion of the Crossbell arc, though it takes place after Cold Steel 4. Then there's Nayuta no Kisekai, roughly translated into a myriad of trails, which was released in 2012 for PSP. Then Trails of Dawn, which is a Japanese online entry for PC, Japanese only. And then there's Ys 5, or Ys versus, no, that's Ys versus Trails of the Sky Alternate Saga, which hasn't been localized either. Yeah. That confuses well, actually, it clarifies the issue quite easily by saying, yeah, the Trails series needs to go back to the fall list. I cannot justify trying to play games that don't have a chance at all of even understanding the story if there's major storyline elements missing. Now, if you just told me that the Trails of Cold Steel series was the place to start, and sure, you'd miss out on some background stuff, that's fine. And at least in the comparison to Final Fantasy, most Final Fantasy games don't really require you to play the previous ones. Only if you're playing like 13.2, at that point you have to play 13.1, obviously. Let's see. We need to hurry up. Here we have a game on Steam called Pumpkin Jack, which the images aren't loading. $22.99, English and French audio, full audio, and then a bunch of other languages. I have a hard time justifying that price tag. That seems very ridiculous. I know we don't have that much left, but I don't see the end so far. Yeah. See, Pumpkin Jack is a spooky, scary 3D platformer in which you embody Jack, the mythical pumpkin lord. See, there was a game that was remade where you play a character very much like that. And this kind of feels like a clone to that, where you were playing as a skeleton, not a pumpkin guy. It's from Head Up, which I feel like Head Up has published some decent games in the past. Have they published decent games, or did they just publish some games? I actually don't have too many of their games to actually say they're decent. And they seem like about an average publisher. Alright, well, this is a ridiculously high price, but I'll put it on the fall list. It at this point feels like people are intentionally raising their price tags so that they can then reduce their prices on the sale and like not actually give a discount. Let's see. That won't work. 1, 2. That'll work. This guy's maybe gonna disconnect. Gamma Sutra has a blog here. We need to talk about Steam in China. Let's see what they need to talk about. Is this an old article? No, first of all. Steam in China, what happens next? Apparently this is some form for this Chinese Steam store. One assumes this is it for the Chinese Steam store. We have to put in an approval license number from the censorship board. You have to put in your name or the company's name. And you have to put in the person who's, I guess, the operator, maybe the publisher. And then here you have checkboxes. This game supports text filtering, which is required. Enable Steam anti-addiction duration control, which is required. And enable pre-launch health warning, which is also required if you don't have a built-in pre-launch health warning. So I don't know why any of these are even checkboxes, since clearly they're required. Now, at a certain point, the question, I guess, boils down to how much of this is Steam and how much of this is China, and almost all of it you can say is China. But at a certain point, I guess the argument is Steam just shouldn't be doing business in China, which is the argument that I think a lot of companies should hear a lot more often, is that they shouldn't just chase after the dollar and give up everything that is good and right, such as freedom of speech and expression. Let's see. Is there anything else?
Hey, how's everyone doing?
There's a separate store category for Steam China Workshop. So, what are they really saying here in this article, though? Yeah, I don't know if they have a cogent point here other than a screenshot to show, because this is almost pre-controversy level stuff. So, yeah, and at a certain point, there's an argument that maybe with Steam having its own storefront in China, we'll stop seeing the low-effort Chinese games flooding the global Steam marketplace, but I imagine we'll see them on both. Here we can see something. Recommended Steam pricing for China is almost 60% less than the US price, and anecdotally, Steam refunds in China are almost double those in the United States. Okay, that's probably true for a lot of countries. Does everything have to exactly be like the United States as far as pricing and refunds? Maybe not. Yeah, I don't think there's actually anything in this article, which is a shame, because I think there is definitely a better article that could be written, certainly as far as is it worth it for Steam to have a storefront in China. And at a certain point, you have to ask yourself, is Valve a libertarian company like they pretend they are? And can they claim to be a libertarian ideal, a company that holds or upholds libertarian ideals, and then also have a storefront in the most anti-libertarian country you probably can find on the planet? Yeah, that is something you definitely need to, that they need to consider. TechCraft has an article here. NeoFly adds a career mode to Flight Simulator 2020, which is a mod, I guess. Experience more like European Truck Simulator. Okay, I guess that's of some interest. I'm just gonna straight up kill this. And then evolve this. And then do this. Let's see. Double click here. Hold this. Draw a box. Nope. None of my ideas actually work.
You wouldn't.
You know what? I'm gonna start going through just the news at this point, since it's nearly 3 hours, and then we'll leave the games for Monday. TechRaptor has an article here. Fire Emblem Shadow Dragon and the Blade of Light is coming to the West. Which, okay. That's an old Fire Emblem game, I guess. Well, this invoked You have at least 5 play points in an allied. Heaven's Gate is not in play. Alright. Well, you know what? We'll just destroy that also.
It won't be long now.
And we'll do an evolve
You wouldn't.
and win.
An exemplary battle.
Fallout 76 is bringing the Brotherhood of Steel to it. It does bring about an interesting question, certainly, as far as where ZeniMax and now Microsoft, as the parent company, are going to take Fallout 76. That is something that didn't immediately occur to me, but I suppose it is something worth thinking about. Certainly is like where do all of these games, where does support end for Fallout 76? I wouldn't be surprised if it's not long for this world. On the other hand, maybe Microsoft will just keep Fallout 76 going as a way of just not looking like a company killer. We have The Outer Worlds now out on Steam. It's more than likely going to get very highly reviewed, if my recollection is correct. Also, The Outer Worlds is
Time for me to prove myself.
the
Bow before
from
dark
some of the makers, I think, of the
ruler
Fallout
the
series,
skies.
and it definitely, I think, has more of the Fallout kind of RPG feel to it. So I could see myself maybe speedrunning through Fallout 4, since someone graciously gifted me that game and I just never got around to it. And I think I may own New Vegas, or I want to buy and own New Vegas, but I may not ever cover it. And then I don't think I have Fallout 3, because there's like an Ultimate Edition, and the Ultimate Edition just never goes on sale. I have played Fallout 3. That was the first Fallout. That was the only Fallout game I've played, with the exception of Fallout Shelter. TechRaptor has a review here for that game Raise the Dead, so that could give us some more feedback. Scroll down to the bottom. They say 6.0. Raise the Dead is entirely unique in the features of visual style that I will still be talking about for years to come. That doesn't mean that the game isn't deeply flawed. Pros are unique visual style, genuinely endearing story and characters, some excellent music. The cons are that it's buggier than a Bethesda RPG. Coincident. Controls are a little loose, and it occasionally has frustrating gameplay. Or its gameplay is occasionally frustrating. Gamasutra has a, I guess, blog here of why bringing Donkey Kong 64 into a third dimension required a mental shift. Was there a game called Donkey Kong 64? I guess there was. Yeah, this is a really short article, too. It's like 4 paragraphs at best, if you allow one sentence to be a paragraph.
Let's play. Hey, let's play. Time to dance.
Help me, fairy.
The game Blade Runner Enhanced Edition has been delayed indefinitely, according to TechRaptor, which that
There's a lot more where that
stinks, but I was a little questioning the point of them trying to take almost this middle step towards improving the graphics. In fact, like right here, I cannot tell you if this is supposed to be the improved graphics or if this is supposed to be the improved graphics. I can tell you that this looks more polished and kind of has a like softening effect on it. And if you look at the shadows in the background, they seem to be softened. But this actually looks sharper, but this face doesn't look as well. Maybe that's the point. Maybe this face is supposed to have freckles on it and shadows and things. I'm not sure that there was a good reason for that. At a certain point, it might just be the case that Night Dive Studios is more ambitious than they should be, and they're just kind of dumb, for lack of a better term. That they have committed to publishing or creating a lot of old games, and or creating remasters of a lot of old games, and they may just not have the chops to pull that off. Yeah. And they cited technology concerns, and that the technology. So apparently, before it was 640 by 480 at 15 frames, after is 1080p at 60 frames per second. So apparently the image on the right was supposed to be the better image, and I don't know if I even agree with that. It's kind of impossible to say that they're having problems with the old technology that Blade Runner is designed on, though, because ScumVM it emulates Blade Runner, I think, perfectly fine. So I don't know what problems they could actually be talking about. Really. See, here's another example. This is supposed to be better, but when you look back here, this doesn't look any better than that. This looks a little bit more blocky in the hair than this, but not by much. The hands maybe have been smoothed a little bit. It really just feels like they brought everything up and were trying to do some kind of like AI super sampling effect, but didn't quite accomplish that. Like, that's about the only thing I could think that would make sense. I'm gonna lose here. And at a certain point, I don't know if an old point-and-click adventure game like Blade Runner should be remastered as much as there should just be a reboot of that that series. Let's see.
There is not a soul without sin.
You have angered me.
Punish the wicked. Spare the innocent.
Sony Interactive Entertainment European Division has put in a patent for something called the Soho engine, which could mean absolutely nothing really, but it's probably some news worth mentioning. Ubisoft apparently paid over $1 million for a trailer from Goodbye Kansas Studios. Let's see. Or is it more that they are paying for that? For it? So, yeah. So, $1 million for a trailer is kind of a ridiculously high price, at least on the sounds of it. TechRuptor has an article. A major post-launch Deep Rock Galactic update adds new mission types. Okay. Not sure if I have Deep Rock Galactic on my wish list or follow list. EA has been hit with a class action lawsuit in Canada over loot box usage. Let's see. And we're still trying to get to victory, so I'll stick with one more game. Chickruptor has a review here for the game Disc Room. I don't think this was a game I wanted to play anyways, so we'll just quickly look at the review. Apparently, they give it a 9.5. Avoiding discs and dying is a lot. Never felt so good with Disc Room, with plenty of different abilities and unique obstacles and zones. Disc Room is a tight package that is sure to satisfy. Pros: art and music complement the gameplay well. Discs and the disc catalog abilities are fun and useful, and it has fair difficulties. Cons: a few instructions can be unclear. Man, I just don't think I want to play this game though. I'm gonna have to make an executive decision on that one and just say no to Disc Room still. Gamatsu has the same article about Blade Runner being delayed. Gamatsu has an article here. Dragon Marked for Death version 3.1.3 update is now available. I don't remember if this game was actually any good. This image always caught my eye, but that was about all I remember from it. It's like it seems like they're making quite a lot of tweaks on what looks like an RPG game. Look at this just incredibly long list of changes. And Gamatsu is not known for having incredibly long lists of anything on their listings.
Don't hurt me.
Let's see. Gamatsu has an article here. Shoot 'em up Crimson Clover World Explosion is coming to Switch on October 29th. Let's see. It does look like a shoot 'em up. Yep. One of these bullet hell shoot 'em up games. I wish I could actually play them and I wasn't just so distracted by the graphics, because at a certain level it does feel like ADD hyper fun to play some of these shoot 'em ups. I kind of suspect if I could play a shoot 'em up where you're guaranteed to never die and never really be punished for getting hit, and you could just go in a god mode basically and play the game, I think I might enjoy something like that quite a lot. Let's see. Moving on, we have from Gamatsu March in Forest Myline and the Forest Gift Rosetta trailer, which I feel like I remember this game being mentioned, but once again I don't really know who they are, and it's weird to have an English trailer, a Japanese trailer, a Chinese trailer, and a Korean trailer, and then all of them are seemingly showing just the exact same voice actor or voice actress as the voice actress for that character, which honestly I wouldn't be surprised if actually she's just a model that's pretending to be the voice actress. Like, the number of Japanese voice actors who are ugly tends to be approaching zero, so really wouldn't be surprised if they fake the appearances of some of them. Looking at the actual game, yeah, it looks like it's a RPG game, a little low polygon. I'm not sure if there's a lot there. It's weird that it's targeting PC, PS4, and Switch, but I guess it's probably just been delayed long enough that, or it was just slow to market long enough that it missed the next generation of graphics that you would expect. It doesn't look incredibly terrible, it's just slightly unpolished. Next we have a Gematsu article. Himi Hibi Zoku Nagaki New Princess Days coming to Switch this winter in Japan. This is clearly one of these otome young maiden visual novels. So that'll be interesting.
It won't be long now.
If it comes to the West, I guess that's a big if. Can we do this?
Why are you here?
Attack, attack, attack,
Away.
and attack. There we go. The game Clay, CLEA, is now available on Xbox One. This looks like a weird horror game, and I feel like this is on PC Steam, so I wanted to investigate it. Unfortunately, what that means is we need to go back and start going through more of the games because I'm still not at the end here. Hop into, I guess, one more game. And we're going long. Yeah, here we have a game called Chionophile, as best I can guess. It's tagged as a walking simulator. It looks very pretty. And it's in an icy environment where you don't see a lot of icy environment walking simulators. Short experience about the mood of the winter in the woods. 89 cents, English only. I'll put it on the follow list. I don't know if I really should be covering the walking simulators ever, but whatever. We have a game on Steam here called Physics Optics Table, which looks just like it's a VR neon laser game. Laser reflection game. $14.99 English only. $14.99 for a VR game seems like it's probably a fair price, but way more than $17.99 for a low quality game. It's not VR. Next we have a game on Steam here called Vincula, which looks like a low effort survival game of some sort. Minecraft clone. $3.39 English, Spain, Spanish, and Latin American Spanish, which I'm a little surprised you don't see more games listed that way, because I imagine if you're keeping the language somewhat consistent, Spain Spanish and Latin America Spanish are basically the same thing, as long as you're only using very generic standard words. Next we have a game on Steam here called Jetboard Joust, which is a side-scrolling shooter. Not my type of game. Yeah, I just don't think I'd want to play that. $7.99 English full audio, bunch of other languages.
Let's play.
Next we have a game on Steam here called My Empire, which looks like a blocky, low polygon, low effort game. $3.99 English only. Next we have a game on Steam called Parabellum. You know, I really did this to myself, because had I just not opened half of these low effort ugly games, I would have been done with them. This is obviously just a siege simulator. Early access for $79.99, English and Russian.
Let's play.
Next we have a game on Steam called The Dungeon Beneath, which it's tagged as an auto battler roguelike. So you know what, I'm going to give that a chance, because if I could find a roguelike there was an auto battler, or frankly just find any games that were auto battlers. There's some room for growth there. This is $13.49, which is still a little expensive. English full audio. You know, as far as like the tag of auto battler, if I was to click this and look at new and trending, let's go with top sellers. A game called Godhood, Dota Underlords. Is there possibly something here that results excluding some projects based on your preferences? Interesting. Really? What did I tell it to exclude?
Hey, let's play. Yeah.
Stop!
Yeah.
No!
Let's see. Oh, it's excluding videos and movies. And there's a list of like 21 ignored games.
10. Hut.
And then I have a blur and warn about content that may contain frequent nudity or sexual content. And then filter out words, profanity, and slurs. You know, yeah. Also, I don't even have it telling me to only show me games that work on Windows, which I guess it probably is such a small number of people of games that would work on Windows. This would destroy something. Yeah, there's like no reason to destroy anything though.
Hey, let's play.
So instead we'll just evolve.
You're done for!
I'm so sparkly. Yeah.
Stop!
Yeah.
No!
Yeah, if I could find something that was an auto battler or just an idle game in general, that would be interesting. But Dota Underlords seems to be the closest game that possibly is like that.
It is not my place to show mercy.
A strategy card game that's doesn't support English, that seems to be very popular. But I don't know why that is popping up under the tag of Auto Battler. I think Auto Battler probably means something more than what I think it means, or different from what I think it means. Alright. This. And then this.
How much longer must I
And
persist?
this.
Hey, let's play.
Go ahead and evolve this.
I'm so sparkly. Yeah.
I will persevere.
Stop!
Attack that.
You've walked into the wrong forest, friend.
Every shot is a miracle.
Next we have a game on Steam here called Sink Again, which apparently is some kind of pirate game. Let's see. Turn-based tactics, dungeon crawler, and battling ships. Well, that might fix some of the problems with a pirate game in the fact that most of them do turn into just ship battling simulators and nothing else. And I can't say I hate this art style. So early access, 960, English, Russian, Ukrainian, that's suspect. It's single player only. I'll put it on the fall list and we'll see. Meanwhile, we've got to do something here. Clearly.
There you are, my little trespasser. What an
And kill
oath.
that.
Me whiskers!
And hit that. Let's see. Next, we have a game on Steam here called Tree Trunk Brook, which is tagged as a point-and-click adventure game, but it seems like it's may not be very much relaxing in nature game. It's free with a suggested donation of $2.69, so they're not being very greedy there. 3 achievements. Kind of wish this was a student project, but I'm going to put it on the follow list even as a free game, because that's a very pleasant way to sell your wares, to say, hey, we probably don't deserve any money from this, or we don't want to feel anybody to feel like they're ripped off. So we're going to give it for free, and then we're going to ask for a donation.
Forest be at peace. Hey, let's play.
What an oath.
There we go. Let's see. Next, we have a game on Steam, Tale of Ninja, Fall of Miyoshi.
No one's getting you.
This could be one of those Chinese games where you don't really do anything, or there might actually be an experience here. It's tagged as a historical action RPG. Now, arguably, the way ninjas are depicted are pretty much nothing historical, but whatever. We're seeing them do a puzzle. We're seeing running around with life bars. I think this is probably closer to a Chinese like programming project more than a finished game, because I'm not seeing any enemies or combat. It's $3.99, bunch of languages. I'll give it a chance since it's early access, but I bet it never gets any better. Alright. We can rush
To the ends of the
here,
earth!
What
and then we
an
can win.
I envy you.
Next we have a game here that's just Asian characters. Looks like another Diablo-esque game, although this one looks like it's potentially just converted from a cell phone game.
I did it! I won!
And see, at this point, there's the only reason that you would want to keep on playing is just to grind up and bring up your battle pass, because none of the daily quests will be reset until 20 hours from now. I could certainly go into a single player and try and beat those single player levels, but I've got better things to do with my time. Here we have a game on Steam that's called Endless, which is just a forward-moving endless runner for 59 cents. It's just an asset flip, basically. Let's see. Gamma Sutra has an article here. Scopely has acquired the Spanish mobile game studio Jinjoy to expand its Match 3 roster. Okay, that's interesting bit of news. And somewhat big news. Nintendo has rushed out a Smash Bros. Ultimate patch to get Steve in his victory skin to not be holding a cooked pork chop that was unfortunately placed in such a way as to make it look like he was perhaps whipping out his schlong, when we all know that Steve has no schlong, and if he did, it would be probably just one 3D cube, or maybe 2 3D mini cubes. But yeah, for a game, the Smash Brothers Ultimate, maybe that's not really targeting the youngest of young kids, but they definitely were trying to bring in more younger kids to Smash Ultimate, with bringing in Minecraft Steve and that's a mistake you don't want to make. I'm sure Microsoft was not happy about that getting out and being allowed that way, and I'm sure Nintendo wasn't happy about that getting out and being allowed that way. That doesn't look good for either side. Gamatsu has an article here. Good Feel is developing self-published Japanese-style comical action game. Which, okay. It seems to be in the early process of development. They don't even have a polished image. Gamatsu usually doesn't talk about things that new. And then Gamatsu has an article here. 7 Nights Time Wanderer launches on November 5th. So that might be something. Czech Raptor has their cross-promotional thing with Nutaku again. There's a game that called Casting Agent that lets you build your porn empire on Nutaku. And yeah. Like I'm still playing College Days, but they put out an update a couple of days ago, and the update literally didn't add any new content. So who knows if we're ever going to get any new content on it. I'm just trying to rush towards the end of it, and then that'll be my experience of ever trying a new Nutaku game. None of the other ones even were able to keep my attention for even a couple days. Speaking of things that keep my attention, Gamatsu has an article here. A 3-volume romance visual series called Fantasy Tavern Sextet. I don't know how you would pronounce. So I imagine that's to say that there are 6 people here, but to me, I just saw the word sext for which is coming out. And here you have like your anime cat girl, lots of characters with cleavage and some underboob and all different outfits. So yeah, that doesn't inherently mean that this has adult content in it, though. It may very well be that this is just going more on the lewd side. And here they have a standalone image of each of the characters. So take your pick on who's your favorite. Or best girl, I guess is what they call that. I think we already talked about this, but TechRaptor has the article. New DMCAs from Twitch destroys streamers' archives. Which, well, that I don't know if streamers' archives on Twitch were ever valued at all anyways. I haven't seen any emails personally from Twitch. But also I wasn't ever doing anything that would have gotten me DMCA'd on YouTube, so I imagine the same thing would happen with Twitch. TechRaptor has an article here. Updated Dual Universe devs ban players for, quote, marketplace heist. I have no idea what Dual Universe is, but apparently somebody did something the devs didn't like, so they kicked them off, which is potentially a problem, certainly, because you might upset the fan base. I think we already talked about this, but TechRaptor has an article. Darkest Dungeon is coming to the Epic Games Store in 2021. So I probably need to hurry up and play Darkest Dungeon. There's a blog here on Gamasutra, Data Deep Dive, Metrofall, Crummets Tale on Steam. This is probably from the person who made this game. Let's see. I don't know if there's really anything here to to take from this. Let's see if there's a final thought at the bottom. You'd probably have to read the whole article. And if you were actually going to sell a game on Steam, you'd want to read the whole article. Otherwise, see, was early access worth it? Apparently so. What didn't work well? Spread media and content creator hype over a long period instead of condensing it into media blitz at launch. Game design perhaps too unique. So apparently they're saying don't spread the media and content creator hype. Weaker than expected sales on Steam. Never got traction during the early access with popular streamers and creators. Yeah, so many game developers are just trying to get creators and streamers to play their games. Trying to be like Binding of Isaac and Slay the Spire. Yeah, that's highly unlikely to win, to happen. And it's part of the problem with like the survivor bias that exists with any level of success. And at the end they say, oh yeah, this game is also coming out for iOS and Android, so this whole article really was just an advertisement. But yeah, you're not guaranteed, promised, or deserving of some streamer's attention. And quite frankly, sorry, I had to drink some water there. I would argue that I hope very quickly we will start to see less and less people, streamers and influencers, actually having an effect on sales at all. It's nice as a content creator myself to think, oh yeah, maybe I am giving consumer advice that would be helpful for people. But I've been talking way too long. We need to wrap this up. But on the other end, I don't want to see the likes of PewDiePie being the kingmaker of all video games. I'm going to mute myself for a second. 1 second. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. Yeah. And then I also heard that somebody is claiming that PewDiePie's channel has been shadow banned on YouTube. I'm not sure I've seen enough evidence to believe that shadow banning exists on YouTube. But yeah, that would certainly be an interesting thing if it had happened, but I don't think I fully believe that because it hasn't been reported on by enough people. And frankly, there's just the one person that I see that's reporting it also fairly frequently hypes and just straight up lies and clickbaits. So, but sometimes you just have to get lower quality news/reports to be able to hear what people are saying or hear a different voice. Sometimes you run into the point where people may not be as articulate or as honest, but they still may have a bit of value in what they're saying. Moving on as we try to wrap up here, we have a game called Chipmunk's Adventure, which is a box pushing, ball rolling puzzle game. I think I might actually want to put this on the follow list. It's $3.19. It actually looks a little bit more polished as I was watching it play, and I could see myself maybe very cheaply playing this if it has, like, say, less than 100 levels, and that's that. At some point, I probably do want to cover some box pushing game somewhere. And then that brings me to the Humble Bundle. But I did skip a lot of games, certainly. And let's see. The Thrills and Chills bundle. Yeah, we already looked at that. Almost certainly there won't be any other bundle. Alright, so let me then check my Twitter account and just see if there's any big news. And we'll talk about it. Let's see. I'll just mention this. Sony Interactive Entertainment has announced a strategic partnership with the rapper Travis Scott. I have no idea who Travis Scott is, but it does certainly, to my mind, point to the fact that the California branch of Sony Interactive Entertainment now, that office that is now in charge, is definitely going to try to change what Sony and PlayStation is all about. And in the same way that Susan Wojcicki has been trying to change what YouTube is all about, bringing in celebrities, doing things very differently from a liberal left SJW perspective a lot of times. So yeah, I really can't recommend the PlayStation to anybody who enjoyed what PlayStation 1, 2, 3, and 4 was all about, because that company is effectively gone, and you're just getting this replacement company in charge that maybe they'll do good and maybe they won't, but they'll definitely do it differently, and we can see that even before the console is released. We've been seeing it well before that. Alright, now I'm just scrolling down my Twitter feed to see if there's anything else to talk about. Let's see. Apparently today is Isaac Repentance Dev? No, it's just a picture that is hashtagged Isaac Repentance Development, because he's still working on it. I thought that said Isaac Repentance Day, as in they just snuck that out without any fanfare. Now would be about the worst time to sneak out a game without any fanfare. I would delay games like crazy, and I think most people are. The developer that made the trainer for platforming apparently just released yet another game called Mousebound, which is apparently a trainer on how to play games with a mouse, where the previous one was mouse and keyboard. So he's flooding the Steam market with garbage games. Floatsym Update 3.5 Beta debuts crew attributes in a day-night cycle. Floatsym being kind of like a raft simulator game, although with a different art style. And I think I still would mostly just want to play raft and only raft. Let's see. New update for the game Assault Spy, featuring various bug fixes and adjustments, is available, according to NIS America. Let's see, apparently Batista can replace Marcus Phoenix in the next Gears 5 update. Interesting. Although it seems like that's just a skin, would be my guess. I would heavily suspect that they're not going to commit to having Dave Bautista be the face of the Gears series going forward. If there are any more Gears games, which I assume you kind of just have to make more Gears games of some sort. I'll probably try to curate the games I'm looking at over the weekend to make sure we don't end up with a ton of garbage games. Also, but I do have like 10 games that I didn't cover, and I don't want to go through the hassle of covering. So that's going to be it for this stream. It's been a long one. Wow, 4 hours? That extra 45 minutes came out of nowhere. Anyways, that's it for this stream. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend to follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. And if you want to support me further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and get me a game off my wishlist.